Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm talking about taking a journey to your future self. So, if you've got any goals, you've got an idea of where you would like to be in the future, then this video is for you. But perhaps you're having a little bit of a struggle with motivation or, figuring out how to get from where you are now to where you want to be. So, basically, the first thing that I want to get into is one of the cool things that you can do. And it's kind of like a visualization sort of thing, or it could be you just ask these sort of questions in your head. But just picture who you want to be in the future. Let's say 10 years down the line. What does that future version of you look like? How do they dress? What are their beliefs, their values? How much money do they earn? How much how good are they with people? What are their relationships like? Are you married? Are you single? Are you a bachelor, bachelorette? You got to ask yourself, what would your future ideal future self look like in about 10 years time? And then what you do is you kind of visualize or imagine that you are sitting like in front of that person, that version of you, and asking them questions to like how can I get to where you are? What do I need to do every day to become this version of me? And you kind of ask them advice. And it's a really cool game that you can do with yourself, because basically you already know deep down what you should be doing every day to get you from where you want to be. And having that kind of like separation of like talk is as if you're talking to someone else. They are usually the voice of reason and tell you what you need to do. So when you do ask, how can I be like you? How can I get to where you are now? How can I become you? They will usually, you'll usually get the answers. You usually get the right answers for yourself. You'll usually get the answers that what you need to do. They'll tell you, the things that you kind of already know, but it's a good technique to use to get to your future self. Now, it may be the case that you don't want to go as long as 10 years. It may be the future self of you that's 5 years, or maybe you want to go longer and it's like 20 years. But it's kind of like having like, okay, so in a way, like, who's your hero, right? And for me, like, my hero is the 40-year-old version of me, right? Because I'm 30 and that's 10 years down the line. So, who do I imagine myself to be when I'm 40? And that's kind of like where I go. Like, I want the advice of the person who I want to be, right, 10 years down the line. So that's something that you might want to consider, and it's a game you can actually play with your future self, even though it's just a projection. It's just something that you've created in your own imagination, but it can be really helpful when you are lost, and you're not sure what to do, you're not sure what action to take, and things like that. So when you do get the answers of what you want to do, and perhaps you already know what you want to do, you already know what you should be doing, you know what you should be doing day in and day out. And that's simply, you got to take action. You have to take action every day to get yourself from where you are now to where you want to be. Otherwise, it's just a dream, it's just a fantasy. You need to be really clear on what you need to be doing every day, even if it's a grind, even if some days you don't want to do it, if it's a really grueling task, but it's what is necessary for you and your future happiness, then you have to do it, right? You have to find a way to do it. So there's a quote that I really like from Dale Carnegie, and that is, inaction breeds doubt and fear, and action breeds confidence and courage. So when if you are experiencing a lot of anxiety about the future, a lot of fear about the future, then it's probably because you're not taking enough action. Because if you was taking action every day and you could see yourself, that you could see that you're making progress, basically, you would feel a lot more confident. And you can contrast this, right? Really feel this with me. Like, how do you feel on days where you've procrastinated, you've slacked off, and you haven't done what you needed to do? I don't know about you, but when I have days like that, which I still do, I feel really crappy about myself, and it bothers me that it really, really bothers me that I didn't do what I needed to do, or I didn't get enough done and things like that, because it took me ages to get started or whatever it may be. But if you kind of contrast that to days where you've really killed it, where you've nailed it, where you've tackled everything on your to-do list, you did everything that you set out to do, maybe you even overperformed and did more than what you expected to do. I don't know about you, but on those days, I feel really proud of myself and confidence in myself, right? So if you want feel better about yourself, especially if you do feel like you have low self-esteem, take action on your goals, take action on the things that you want to achieve in your life, right? Even if at the moment it takes a long time, because, you see a lot of people, and sometimes it can be, you kind of get this message from your friends and family that perhaps are not really believing so much in what you're doing. Like they expect, like if you don't succeed the first time around, or the second time, or the third time, they expect you to quit. Like if you're not making money or whatever, you haven't achieved what you wanted to achieve straight away. It makes them feel like, oh yeah, you're not, you should stop doing that because it's not working, even though you've only tried like 3 times. Because most of the people in the world quit. Most people in the world don't tackle their dreams, or they don't do it if it hasn't worked the first time. But tackling your dreams, especially if you do have some like audacious goals, things that are like seem like way off in the future. Let's say you have like a crazy dream of like becoming like a millionaire, and at the moment you're earning minimum wage. Then that can seem like a lofty goal, but you can get there. There are people out there who have gone from those kinds of situations and became millionaires. But the reason why no one else seems to be doing that in your in your family, or in your friendship group, or at work where you go, or your people that you go to school with, whatever it may be, the reason they haven't got there is because they're not taking action, or they have tried to take action in the past, but they quit too soon. And it kind of confirms their beliefs when they say to you, oh, you've been doing that and you're still not earning enough money. Well, you should stop doing that, and you have like they give you like these like limiting beliefs, but really they're just projecting what they're feeling because they've quit on certain things in their life. They've only given a couple of attempts to something and it hasn't worked out, so they stopped, right? So it kind of makes them uncomfortable when they see you grinding and you keep on going, even though perhaps you've been doing something for a year, you've been trying to achieve something for a year, and you still haven't seen results. But the thing is that most of the time, things that you're going to build is going to take a few years or a decade to achieve. That's just the reality of that sort of situation. Of course, some people can become overnight successes. That's not unknown. But generally, it takes a long time to achieve success in a certain field, in a certain area, because you need to put the hours in. You need to, if you want to become really good at something, it takes a lot of time. It requires a lot of time. So, if you have these people in your life that are like that, then you just have to tune them out, right? Because if you want to feel good and confident about yourself, then you need to take action, and it will take a long time. It can take a long time. So the next thing I want to get into is to, create emotional reasons why you want it, because some days you're not going to feel like doing it. Even if it's something that you enjoy, sometimes if you've given yourself like a large task to do during the day, it can feel overwhelming, and then you feel like you want to procrastinate, you feel a bit stressed about it, you kind of want some stress relief, so you kind of avoid it. There are going to be days like that, even when it comes to things that you want to do, the things that you really want to do. Like for me, like today, I'm quite motivated today, I feel quite good today, but the last 2 previous days I haven't felt like that, but I forced myself to make videos, to coach my clients and things like that. Like I've had to force myself to do it, even though I didn't really feel like it, right? But the thing is, I know if I don't, I'm going to feel so much worse about myself, and I'm going to let people down. People are expecting videos, I'm not going to be able to get ahead in my work, and I'm just going to feel awful about myself. And I'd rather not. Like, I know how that feels. I've had those days where I've procrastinated. Sometimes I still do. Now, luckily, I have more days where I, really don't feel that way, which is good. But, that kind of like that pull to procrastinate is always there. Like, you're never going to lose that, right? And some days are definitely worse than others, right? So you need to have like emotionally charged reasons for doing what you're doing, right? Like one of the reasons for me is what I've just said. Like when I don't do those things, I feel awful, and I want to feel confident, and I want to feel good about myself. So that's why I tackle my goals as much as I possibly can, even on days when I really, really would rather to do the opposite. Like yesterday, for example, it took me 2 hours. Like I was looking at my video recording equipment, and I was looking at my to-do list for about, I was procrastinating for about 2 hours, and then I had to force myself to do it. And you're going to have days like that. Today, I didn't need to force myself. I got on with it straight away because today I just happened to be having a good day. But you got to remember that you're human. You're going to have better days than others, right? but you just got to do it. If you want to get ahead, if you want to go from where you are now to where you want to be, then you have to take action every single day. And when you do, you will feel confident about yourself. You'll feel good about yourself. Because progression feels rewarding. So like when you are taking action and then you start to see results, even if it's taken a year to start seeing like good measurable results, that's, you feel really good. You feel like, oh my God, I've actually started to, like, things are getting there, things are progressing. It might be that you've got a YouTube channel and one of them, your channel starts to blow up and you start getting more subscribers and people are actually watching your videos, right? And it's not like when you start making videos on YouTube, like when I started making coaching videos on my coaching channel, for relationships and dating, it sucked, like, because at the beginning, like, my videos would just get like 0 views, or it would just be 1 view and that view was from me, right? And now I'm lucky, usually it seems to be like I'm getting between 900 to 1,000 views on a typical video, which is really good, right? I think that's really good. You might think that's poor, depending on how big your channel is, if you've got a YouTube channel. But it can feel really demoralizing to begin with. But if you stick at it and you keep persisting, you will get to a point where you will be getting more views, more subscribers, more clients, if that's what you're aiming for. It could be that you've got a blog and you start getting more traffic on your website, you start getting people buying your products, whatever it may be. But you've got to give yourself the time. You've got to put in the hours and the days and sometimes the years before you start seeing that progress. But when you do start seeing progress, you feel amazing, and you feel like you're finally cracking the code and you're finally getting to that version of you, that future self. So those are my thoughts on the journey that you need to go on to get to your future self. Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you like coaching for whatever reason, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.